RPS Sector 50 Gurgaon branch. Before jumping to the topic, I'll do a quick recapitulation. I think it's very necessary because I'm teaching to class 6. So they have just come from the primary to the middle way. So it's very necessary to make them comfortable. So can any one of you tell me what are words? We use n number of words in our daily life. What are words? Letters, combination of letters. Then what are sentences? Meaningful combination of words. Meaningful combination of words. So whenever we are talking about sentences, we need a meaningful combination of words. Rather, I will add a word there, meaningful sequential order of words. So again, a sentence can be divided into subject and predicate. Let's take an example. Ram is playing. So what is the subject? Ram. So why do we call Ram a subject and not a noun? Doer of the action. So here Ram is performing the action. So we are addressing Ram as a subject. And what action is he performing? The rest of the sentences telling us about it. So that is the predicate. And this part, the predicate, contains rest of the parts of speech. Except the noun or the pronoun which we are addressing as subject, rest of the parts of speech are in the predicate. Yes, noun is also there when it acts as a object. Fine. So I think everyone has understood what is a subject. Next part of speech is verb. As ma'am told, what are verbs? Action words. And not only action words, intervene, the possession. But normally, the children have already learned about verbs till they reach the topic which we are taking. Fine. So I'll just brief about so verbs are mainly divided into main verbs or linking verbs, helping verbs. They both are necessary. Main verbs tell you what the action is going on, and linking verbs or the helping verb is linking the subject to the rest of the sentence. So linking verb can be divided into 3 main categories: the be family, have family, and the do family. So in the be family we have is and or for the present tense, was and were for the past tense, have and have for the present, and has for the past tense. Have for the past tense. Do family we have do, does, and did. Same do and does for the present and did for the present. Fine. So whenever we are forming a sentence, which I think the children always make mistake, is while forming a sentence grammatically correct. And this is where the subject and the verb plays a vital role. And that is our topic. Subject, verb, agreement. So whenever we are using a verb in a sentence, it should agree with the subject. Can I fix it?
Yes. Ma'am, I have a doubt. Linking verb is under main verb.
Linking verb. They are different.
If we get as a main verb in the sentence, so the
helping verb. Because they will link the subject.
Helping verb are just to have the main verb. And if I'm just saying that linking is the helping, and if I say that you seems really very sad today, so if I just remove seems, so is it a complete sentence? Because if it is helping, so is the sense complete?
I'm not talking about the state of being.
Then may I answer this? And helping verbs can act as main verbs, but main verbs cannot act as helping verbs.
So they are totally
different, but it can act as main verb.
linking verb. I'm linking and helping both are different.
Yes.
Linking verb appears for verbs. And helping verbs are P forms. These primary verbs. Helping verbs are
My question is, ma'am, that if I'm talking about under the category of main or helping, linking will come under the category of main or helping.
helping is the helping verb acting as the main verb in the sentence. For example, I took I'm fine. So am is actually connecting the subject and rest part of the sentence. So here it is acting as linking, but am goes in helping verb. So helping verb acting as the main verb in this particular sentence. So when we are talking about subject verb agreement, the verb has to agree with the subject on two conditions. They are number of the subject and the person. Here number means singular and plural. Singular means when the subject is one in number and plural means when it is more than one. And person means the first person, second person and the third person. First person is the speaker who is speaking. Second is whom the speaker is addressing. And the third one is what they are talking about. The person may be present or not. That does not matter. But the subject, when using the verb, depends upon these things: the number and the person. So whenever we are using a verb in the sentence, it has to agree with the subject on the basis of the number of the subject and the person we are using. Fine. Next. Now when we are using, what are the rules where the subject and verb will agree with each other? The first rule is singular subject takes singular verb. So when our subject is one in number, the verb will go in singular. So how do we identify that the verb is singular or not? It will have a suffix s or is. So the verb play in singular form will become plays. Dance, dances. So whenever we are changing a verb to singular form, we will add s or es. But yes, again there are some exceptions to this rule. For example, as ma'am said कि हिंदी में तू तुम आप होता है, but इंग्लिश में भी हम रिस्पेक्ट शो करते हैं या डिसरिस्पेक्ट शो करते हैं, बट उस रिस्पेक्ट और डिसरिस्पेक्ट को हम मॉडल्स के थ्रू जाहिर कर सकते हैं. बट अगर मैं यू यूज करूं, आप बता सकते हैं कि मैं रिस्पेक्टफुल हूं या नहीं? नो. फाइन. सो यू अगर वो सिंगुलर भी है, it will not come in this category. Fine. There are conditions where I will take up plural words instead of singular words. Like in present perfect, I have a job to do. I wish I were a doctor. We use I was also. I was studying yesterday. That's grammatically correct. But when we are stating a sentence, when we are wishing something, that time it becomes I wish I were. Correct. When we are imagining something, when we are wishing something, when there is a hypothetical situation, we use plural form with I was. Next rule is plural subject takes plural verb. So you comes in this category. Because from the ancient English, you has always been considered as plural. So even if the second person is singular or plural, we always use the verb as plural. Only the third person is the one which is following the rules. First person or second person, they do not follow those rules. It's only the third person जिसके बारे में बात हो रही है, gossip हो रही है, he or she will follow the rule. Rest no one will follow it. I hope these rules are clear. Now I have small activity. Can I have four volunteers here? Any four volunteers? Or you can keep sitting. So please. Can we start?
India is a country in Asia.
India is a country in Asia. So we can use sentences where we can let the kids think. They can use their geography, they can use their social science knowledge, whether India is in Asia or not. So, water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. Again, it doesn't freeze at 100 degrees Celsius. They should know their science concepts.
5 plus 5 is
5 plus 5 is 10. Correct.
the Prime Minister addresses the nation.
The Prime Minister addresses the nation. So I suppose the rule number 1 and 2 are clear enough. Singular subject, singular verb, plural subject, plural verb, except you and I in some conditions. Can we move forward to the third rule? Rule 3. In rule 1 and 2, we were talking about subject, which was one subject was only there. Its number was changing from singular to plural, but subject was only one. Third rule states if there are two subjects joined with conjunction and excuse me, can you tell me what are conjunctions?
Conjunctions are words to join words, sentences, or phrases.
Correct. So conjunctions are those words, those connectors which can connect two words, two phrases, or sentences. Fine. So if there are two subjects which are joined with and, so there are two subjects. Now this rule has some conditions. We have given the basic condition, two subjects and connector and. First condition is when these two subjects are different. Ram and Sham, two different persons. So the verb will be plural. Going by rule 2, plural subject takes plural verb. So when we are joining two subjects, the verb will be plural. Next is two subjects, same context. For example, thread and needle. Both are used for stitching. So they are considered to be one entity. They are considered to be one subject. So again, going by the rule 1, singular subject, singular verb. Third condition is again two subjects using article the. Now there is a situation where both the subjects are using article the before them. The teacher and the principal. They both are working at the same place. But when we are using the, we have indicated them as two proper subjects. So again, going by the rule 2, verb will be plural. What about two subjects when one of them has article the?
On the singular, we are talking about the same person.
Correct. Because we have not separated them. So we have 4 conditions under rule 3. When there are two subjects and they are connected by conjunction and the subjects are different, we use the verb in plural form. When they are subjects, we are talking about for the same context, bread and butter, chapati and curry, thread and needle. There are so many of them. So verb will be singular. Two subjects using, both of them are using the article the, verb will be plural because they are counted as different and two subjects where one of them is having the, again the verb will be same. Any doubt in there? Yes, sir.
What if that comes before the second subject?
No issues. Even if there is there any of them.
Why don't you give an example to her example?
So teacher and the principal,
So they're two separate people.
they will be considered as one. The verb will be singular.
If I say teachers and the principal,
It doesn't matter.
This is correct.
Plural.
Teachers is plural and principals is plural.
They're both again.
the teachers and the principal are the main part.
Is.
Teachers
Yeah.
and the principal.
Ma'am, and if you're using and, teachers along with principal,
I will say
teachers
teachers
the number here doesn't matter. And whatever is close to the verb is no, not in and condition. Not in the and
should be
condition.
is.
Yes.
Teachers and the principal is
Yes. When we are using and in the sentence,
but we're talking about two different subjects. Teachers.
they both are working in the same place.
But we are saying teachers as one subject. It should be our teachers different, and we are talking about a group of teachers, and principal is a different identity. They both are joined with the conjunction and, like Ram and Sham. But about Ram and his friends,
The teacher and the principal.
the teacher and he is giving teachers. I know in a situation like this, it is always better to write the sentence on the board and then contemplate on it.
Yes, first of all, that is the
At the moment. So what happens is that you have a strict rule in your head, right? And you're following that rule. But what sir projected in front of you was an entirely different concept, and you were just too stuck in that idea that you recognize that is the and plural, it doesn't convey the same meaning, right? So this situation would arise in your classroom also. Yes, so it's better to, as soon as a child brings it up or whosoever brings it up, it's better to jot it down on board, and then you can do a quick thinking in your mind and then contemplate, and then you'll never go wrong.
Somewhere I read an example. Teacher and the guide blank us or motivate the woman of the
in the sentence.
So please keep the sentence for me.
Teacher and the guide blank us and the verb is motivate.
See, teacher and the guide motivates us.
I have a question. First of all, it can't be teacher alone. What I feel. In the previous sentence also, like, when we say teachers, like it makes sense, but I cannot use teacher alone, right? There should be some article. Because in this sentence
First
would
one
be
is plural and after then on the singular is there.
maybe it should be the teacher and
Yes.
or teacher.
He's telling a totally different sentence. This is grammatically wrong. It should come here. Moving on to the fourth rule, we have again two subjects join with, along with, or as well as. So when there are two subjects which are joined with, along with or as well as. For example, so what do we see here? We see here the subject, first subject. So if the first subject is singular, the verb will be singular. If the first subject is plural, the verb will be plural. So students as well as teacher are. So here it can be along with also. Students along with teacher. Students with the teacher. I'm just talking about here. This conjunction. So whenever we are using the conjunction as well as, along with, or with, the verb will depend upon the first subject. If the first subject is singular, singular verb. If the first subject is plural, plural. Any doubt here? I will wind up my session here because in the whole class we can't take all the 10 rules.
I was excited for rule 9 and 10.
Rule 9 and 10. No issues.
We still have time, like we have half an hour, so I don't continue all of this.
No issues. Rule 9 says measurement and amount. Measurement, when we are using any kind of measurement, we take it as singular verb. So when we are talking about measurements or amount, the verb we use is singular. Let's study with an example.
9 kgs is a little bit. 200 kgs dams we will not. For a child, yes. We are all children, let's accept that. I will increase the zeros in case we acknowledge ourselves as that teachers.
Now dash 2 kilometers daily. Walk or walks? Walks. So it will go singular.
But now,
It depends on ground. Sorry. Yes. 2 kilometers is a long distance. Yes. Yeah. Yes. So it can be 200 also, 2000.
It can be 10 kgs to having carry yes, 500.
Chase. Again. Yes. Collective nouns. Always consider singular. Languages.
There is exception
Correct.
then the collective noun will be plural. Jury, committee, like that.
What about languages? Singular. So whenever we are talking about languages, they are considered singular. Whenever we are talking about subjects, singular. Thank you. For reference regarding have to write.
I was waiting for the roulette to know there's something I was like, kya kare isme? Okay, thank you. That was very enriching. I don't know whether we have the opportunity to use all of this in class. I'm not too sure. When you're up for a micro session or a teaching session, what happens is that we're all very enthused about it, and then we put up charts and we have flashcards. Deepak sir, flashcards, yeah. But I am not too sure when we are running behind the syllabus how many of us get the opportunity to actually do this in class. But as long as we are not making it a very boring session and making it an engaging session for our students, the purpose is solved. And yes, if you are putting charts and all, I think it will be easier for a child who is sitting at the end. Like for me, it's not visible. I'm sorry, I'm not criticizing, but for me, this is not visible at all.
And just to listen.
Yeah, and using dark colors also
is not, I would not advise it. Avoid using green also, it's for principal ma'am. Greening principal ma'am. Greening, we're all reds. No, I'm just kidding, but I think the reflection that comes in is not too appropriate. So just 2-3 things that I'd like to. And you know what? I'm sorry, I'm doing this.
It's okay.
I just noticed two things. This is a class wherein you have people who are already knowledgeable, right? So questions will come. We have to be prepared any which ways. And if it feedback is also coming, see, we are not grammarians. We are not people who have learned English from the people who made it. We're not from Oxford. We're not from our. So we tend to go wrong. I think at times what I've observed in classes that at times I also may go wrong. But if I am being corrected by a student, I would immediately acknowledge it and I'll just stay there for a moment and then get your thoughts together and then add on to it. Otherwise, your credibility as a teacher goes away. Once the student realizes कि मैम ने देखो ये गलती करा है, तो then your credibility is hanging in between. So I would suggest that what happened here, let's take it again as a learning that these debacles would happen. You can't avoid them. So what we can do is, as this, why I asked you to write it on the board is it buys you time to put your thoughts together, and then you quickly think of another example, and then cut down on your rate of speech. Try to engage more learners into it. Acha, what do you think about it? What do you think about it? And don't lose that smile. But then confident, when you started, you were very confident. And I was like, हाँ, मज़ा आ रहा है मुझे सेशन के अंदर. अब वो 2-3 इधर उधर से अगर counter questions आ जाए, and if you then carry a flustered face, then again your credibility goes for us. Okay, so sorry, I thought I explained it. Yeah. Thank you guys.